Okay, so, I want to talk about expectations. I actually wanted to speak about this a few days ago, and we never ended up being able to get back on here. For those that don't know, we're on Instagram Live. We're also on Facebook Live. So if you see our eyes going back and forth, it would be for that reason. So what do we mean by expectations? Well, again, I'm talking about it like having an expectation of the things that you want to draw into your life, having the expectation that that thing is going to, that whatever it is going to come to you, right? And then your behavior gets dictated based on that expectation. Okay, so let's say this. Now, we teach you all about mindset, right? We teach you how to focus on that. We teach you, Living Fit Club is very much about that, right? So, really designing the life that you want and having different, methods to be able to get to the same place. Now, let's say you had something very specific goal, right? Let's say you wanted to, I don't know, pick a goal. Well, we were talking before about an example, right? We were saying how we wanted to say you wanted like slim down, or I was saying it for myself, right? Slim down, get fit. I'm doing the whole like awesome perimenopausal thing, right? So I'm like learning how to navigate this. But instead of focusing on that piece of it, I was like, what if I were to just focus on, getting back to like, for me, it's like what was normal, like slim and fit, right? And I love being slim and fit, and I'm obviously very healthy, and I that's what I'm going to focus on. So in my vision of that, now when I got up this morning, as an example, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't. I was tired. We've obviously had a lot of stuff going on around the house here. So I said, you know what? I don't really want to do anything. But when I get into my vision of it, and believe it or not, I did not end up going for my exercise. I didn't do it because of that vision. It was like I needed to go clear my head. So I said, okay, the best way I could do that is to exercise. For me, to exercise. I like to exercise a lot. So that would be the thing that I want to do, right? While I was exercising, I started visualizing what I wanted, I started like visualizing the slim and fit. And then, here's the key, then I was grateful for being slim and fit again, right? I was grateful for that piece of it. And I spent my whole time being grateful. Now, if I were to come home from that and not have been in that state and to the point where I'm like, I have just this expectation that this is what's going to happen, because why wouldn't it? Right? So I have this expectation. Now I could have come home and I could have eaten differently, or I'm not someone who eats bad, but like, I don't know, give another example. What do people do when they, it's really a lot of times it's around like eating poorly. Like for me, I get more directed on what kind of supplements I need to take or whatever. In other words, I had a total and complete expectation. That's it. There's no, like, I don't think anything else. Like when you're in that state of gratitude and you connect it to what your vision is, there's a total expectation that that is what's going to be. So then my behavior, my actions are dictated by that expectation based on the gratitude for my vision. Do you understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like each thing leads to the next step.
Right.
But it's all determined on your overall vision.
Right, but if you never reach that state of expectation, if you don't get to that piece of it, because I think people will write down their stuff, right? So they'll get to their vision, and that's one place that they'll go to, right? So they've done that.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't go into the visualization.
Right.
So it has to go to the visualization, and then they stop there, and they say, what is it? Because they don't do the next step, which is the gratitude piece of it already happened, as if it already happened. And then they get the gratitude piece, and they're right there, but then they never go on to the expectation. You see what I'm saying?
It's a 4-step process.
Right. And I think that people do pieces of it at certain times, but they never like get it to the point where it's fully developed and together so that it dictates action, the next actions. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Because when you have that expectation, when you do all those steps and you get to the point of expectation, it's very clear about what to do or what not to do.
Right.
It is very clear. Would you guys agree out there listening to this? I hope it doesn't sound like mumbo jumbo. Like,
no,
I want to see if like, and give me an example and I can walk somebody through.
Well, you can give another example about
Royal
Crown Diamond.
Okay, so like in Young Living, like hitting rank for Royal Crown Diamond. Okay, so the first thing would have to be that you're clear on what the goal is, right? So you're clear on what the goal is and you write it down, because otherwise it's fantasy, right? So you write down the goal. Now, it's not just about Royal Crown Diamonds, something I talked about with you and I talked about. I said, put a number to that. Like, what does it mean for you? So let's just use as an example for somebody, it might mean like their monthly check. And then of course the monthly check means something else. And so you're going to have to build out that vision, right? So write it down first, right? So you write that down. So you have this thought, and then the thought gets written down, and then it gets to something specific. So say it's $250,000 per month is what you want your check to be, your Young Living check to be. So then you write it down. Now you start visualizing at that point, okay? You start visualizing that and you build it out. Like you just get excited. You get that burning desire, right? That's where you build up the burning desires through that visualization. Then from that point, you go into immense gratitude for it already happening. You're just so happy, like it's just there, like you just have this immense gratitude because you built up so much around that. And from there, then you have the total expectation of it coming. And so from that point on, the only thing you focus on is those steps and that process. So when you find yourself in a moment of anything, like let's say anything comes up in your experience that you're feeling a little like, whatever about, right? Then what you want to do is go right back to that piece, right back to that particular vision, because it doesn't matter what it's on. Let's say you get into an argument with your significant other. Okay, that's fine. Go back to whatever it was you were creating a vision around. It doesn't have to be around the relationship, but you want to get back into that state. So you use that vision to get back into that state. So I'll give you another type of example. So I know somebody who, he really wants to make all these changes in his life, but he has a lot of things that hold him back, that he holds him back, really, himself back, right? And one of the things I said, let's try to pick something like, instead of like fixing all these areas of your life, let's pick something somewhat innocuous, right? So we said, how about travel? Like, where would you want? And he's like, I'm just not the guy that can relax at all. I go, well, what is your viewpoint of travel and relaxation? He's like, I can't go sit on a beach somewhere. And I'm like, okay, neither could I. Like, I don't find that particularly enjoyable. I like to be...
I like to move.
I like to move and do things and whatever. And we live at a beach, right? So I don't find that particularly enjoyable. So I said, I'm with you. I said, but I love Europe. That's one thing. Like, I just absolutely love Europe. And I love history. And I love all that. So I said, even though I'm like ridiculously bad in history, but I just love the whole, like, things of antiquity, I guess. Uh-huh. So I said to him, I said, it sounds like you would love something like the castles in Scotland, or you'd probably like the Forum and the Colosseum in Rome. And he was like, oh man, absolutely, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, so let's build out a vision on that, right? So here's the steps now. Write down, and his whole thing was his fear of traveling itself, like the traveling piece of it, okay? So I said to him, all right, so what you're going to say is, I travel with ease. I love to travel, because he has to retrain his brain. So I was like, you take the opposite of it, right? So I love to travel. I feel awesome when I'm traveling. I love seeing and experiencing new things. I am so grateful. And then I said, building out your vision, go do the research on these particular places. What excites you? What do you want to see? Like, so you could get a very clear picture in your head. See yourself there. See yourself getting on the plane, smiling, feeling awesome. Like, this is how much you break it down in your vision, You feel so good with ease. You get to wherever you go, no problem. Everything's a smile. I said, smile, literally physically smile as you're doing it, and imagine yourself smiling and feeling amazing and all that, right? So it's like step by step. And then I said, then look up these places, what you want to see. Get excited about it. Create that burning desire. That's all still part of the vision. Then give gratitude that you're able to be there, travel there, even if it's in your mind right now. Give gratitude that you're able to do all this, that you have the money freedom, the time freedom, that there's no stress around it, that there's, you just feel so good doing this, and then expect it. Now, we're not at the expectation part with him yet. Right now, we're building out the vision, okay. But then I'm going to take him into we're in like vision gratitude piece of it. Okay. And then we go from there to expectation that this is going to happen. What often happens is people then go and make the move. They make whatever decision it is. And they're like, I didn't know it was so easy. It becomes you could do so much of the work just in your mind before it goes to the action. Because by the time then you take the action, it's very efficient action.
Right. I could see that.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this huge anything. It just starts to become very efficient. So give me something for you. Let's walk you through something. Can you think off the top of your head? Like, what's one goal that's in your Design Your Life journal?
What? Oh my
What's
God.
one thing? I know you have a million, so just pick one. It doesn't matter.
I guess it could. I mean, I was going to say, I was saying Royal Crown Diamond.
Royal Crown Diamond. Okay, so that's the example that you and I had gone through before then. So what was your number? Like I say 250. I'm so grateful for, I call it the RCD check. So the RCD check, 250,000 plus. Now, by the way, for those of you who are listening, here, being a Royal Crown Diamond in Young Living does not mean you get a $250,000 per month check. That's not what that means. I attached that number to it. Okay, so if you guys want to see what you make in Young Living, just go to Young Living's income disclosure statement, youngliving.com/IDS, and you'll see what the actual numbers are.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's what I did. So we have someone, let me see if we can answer somebody on here. Okay, what are the 4 steps? Pam, I hope you got the 4 steps. So the 4 steps were, you want to write it down, get your vision around it, get really clear about your vision around it, right? And then you want to go into gratitude for it, and then expectation, and then and with that comes action. Yeah, the actions with it, because once you have the expectation brings about the actions.
Okay,
you expect it to happen. Everything you do after that.
Vision, visualize, gratitude.
Write it down, visualize it, gratitude, expectation, and with the expectation comes the actions that you're going to do. Okay, somebody asked here about reaching silver. Okay, so here's, hi Denise, never misses the Jahan Show live. Oh, you're so funny. Okay, so reaching silver, right? So she wants to reach silver. So in Young Living, to reach silver, you'd have to have 2 legs. You'd have to have 10,000 overall volume and 2 legs at 4,000 plus 1,000 outside of that. So for me, I actually think a little bit differently. So I hope this is helpful to you, Jen, who was asking this question. But for me, what I do is I go well beyond that, because, you know, if you're shooting for Mars and hit the moon, you do really good. You know what I mean? So I usually go like way above and beyond. But if you were just going to stay within silver, for instance, those would be the numbers for silver. So you would first write it down. What would your silver check be, if that's what you want to attach to it? Like, you have to have something that excites you to, like, I don't know why you want to be silver. So that would be my question. Why do you want to be silver? Maybe it's recognition. Maybe it's the check. Maybe it's because you see that as a foundational point for the next step. I'm not really sure. So whatever that is for you, get clear on that, right? Then you write it down, and then you pick out what whatever you're going to attach to it. So whether it's the check or the recognition or whatever it is, then you put that on there. That becomes your vision. And then you start to build out that burning desire. What would life look like with that title? What does that life look like there? Maybe it helps you to get out of debt. Maybe it helps you leave your job. So whatever any of it is, that you attach to it, that's what your focus is going to be on. Then you give gratitude for it already being. Okay, I am so grateful now that I am silver. I'm so grateful for being silver. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you feel that immense gratitude. You want to feel it like kind of pour out of you from there. And then you have the total expectation. That's it. Like, so all your actions are based on, that's what you're going for. You're silver. So all your actions should be based on that. So for instance, if something came along where somebody said, hey, would you do a class for me? You wouldn't come up with like, well, I can't because I have to give my, pet parrot a bath. You know what I mean? You're like, yes, I'm going to do that. Yes, you go into yes mode. Yeah, of course I'm going to do that, because that's in alignment with your vision. Right. That's what you want. So you start doing things that make sense. Well,
even going back to that, I mean, a lot of the stuff we're doing now is our Zyto. I mean, that's definitely fueling our vision. That's like, that's coming in. That's coming into play because of our vision. Right. So I'm like, I have all these ideas. I'm like, oh my God, like I can do this place. I can do this here. I can do this there. Right. I have so many things that I can do to meet my overall vision as a Royal Crown Diamond. Like, I've been visualizing more, and that plays a part of it. So that's not going to come to me. I'm going to take action on what's coming to me, like you always said. Right. And that came to me. So I'm like, I'm doing this with everyone.
Right. And then what happened? And then you reach out to people, because that would be part of it, right? Yeah. That would be part of the action through the expectation. So then you reach out to people who instantly said yes. Not one person came back with no. Who's saying no. So they come back and say, yes, that's what I want to do. Yeah. Right? And then we said, okay, well, if we do it this way, and then you say, okay, set a date. And it was like, okay, can you do it today? No, we're doing it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Yep. That's what I'm talking about. Yep. Kathy, what? But I do need to give my pet parrot a bath. You like that, Kat? So, that's what I mean. Like, you start to do things when you have the total expectation, and you just do the things along it, because now you've built it up to the point that by the time you're taking action, it's so important to you. You've put so much emotion to it. You've put so much vision. You put so much gratitude. There's so much there that it's a no-brainer. If you still find trouble in the action, If you still find trouble with that piece of it going into action, it's because you haven't built out all those other steps. Because what happens is that by the time it gets to where you're going to, and this can happen fast, by the way, right? But by the time you get to that place of expectation, the action is so obvious. Right? The action is like, it's a no-brainer because as it comes to you, like it was a no-brainer when we said you want to do this and you were like, yeah, done.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be like, okay, Christina, now you're going to go here and say this, right? Nobody had to say anything to you. You just went boom, 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 right into action.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it becomes a no-brainer. And that's what I mean. I think that a lot of people try to work from action first and go backwards.
Yeah.
And they struggle because they're not really sure. They're kind of shooting from the hip. It's going all over. It's not very directed, focused action. That only comes when you do those steps, and then you have this total expectation. That's it. Done. Done. Burn the ships. There's nothing else that's going to come out. You know, you see what I'm saying? There's no other option.
I see exactly what you're saying.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
I hope that makes sense to you guys also. We don't want to keep this forever, but practice those 4 steps leading to expectation, of course, and then taking that action. And I'd love to hear from you. I mean, come back on here. Tell us what you've done. Even if take the next few minutes. If you're hearing this right now, there's a reason why you're hearing this. So use this information. Go take one little thing. Like if you're in Living Fit Club, for instance, and you have that Design Your Life journal, or if you're not and you follow me for a long time, you know what I'm talking about. Right? Just pull one piece out of it. It doesn't have to be like every part of it that you do right now. Pull one piece out of it right now. Build it out now. You could do this. I mean, it really doesn't take long. You could build it, get to that place of expectation, and come back and tell us how it felt and what actions you would take based on that. You'd be surprised. It just starts everything moving fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Right? All right. Take care, guys.
Bye. Don't mind me. I'm just doing stories for Instagram, not on my phone.